where the coffee is cold, the kids are wild, and the crimes are absolutely unhinged. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tali. Let's talk murders, motherhood, and why we trust absolutely no one.
Neil must have really missed me because he sent me a sappy reel the other day. And it was like a series of old couples holding hands and being playful. It's like you and me in so many years. I'm like, God.
Are you okay?
Do you just want to hang out a bit? It was quite cute. Oh, you do love me. That's
yes.
Nice.
I know Brian will sometimes say that he misses me. And I'm like, you do? Okay.
Sure. I forgot you liked me.
Yeah.
Not that, Neil's never mean, but we're just so busy. Then I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're here.
I guess.
Yeah. I know, especially dance competition season. I'm like, oh God, I'm exhausted.
I know. Neil was conveniently on night shift for every single one, so I had to do all of them solo.
Brian has probably started to catch on that he doesn't really need to be there for all of them. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Before I get into the episode, so how many scientists are we at now? I didn't mean to be as excited about. Is it 12? Because I kept sending them to you.
I thought you said 12.
Yeah. And one of them actually has a connection to Calgary.
Okay, I couldn't understand the text. You were very excited.
Yes.
And it just, something, scientist, something Calgary. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yes. I wonder if I saved it.
Yeah, because I would like to know what their connection is to Calgary.
Okay. I'll play, you don't have to look at the video because it's just a newscaster.
Mm-hmm.
But then that way we can use the audio here.
And the FBI says it's exploring possible links between the death of a former University of Calgary astrophysicist and several other scientists who have died or disappeared over the past 4 years. Carl Grillmer was born in Calgary and moved to the U.S. in the 90s to work at Caltech. He was shot and killed at his California home in February. A man was arrested and days later was charged. Grillmer's death is among several wrapped into rampant internet speculation with at least 10 people connected to sensitive U.S. nuclear and aerospace research now missing or dead. The FBI wants to determine whether the incidents are coincidental, connected, or just a conspiracy theory.
It's too many that are connected. Neil was trying to debunk this because there were a few that died of
Come on, Neil.
I know. Well, there were 2 that the families were mad, he said, because they died of long-suffering diseases.
Yes.
I'm like, but if so, that's 2.
It's just 2.
This is too many now to be a coincidence.
There's at least, the ones that I listed in the last episode, I would say are the most concerning ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple where I'm like, okay, maybe. But still, it's
There's
also,
too many now.
It's also how people are acting.
Mm-hmm.
How NASA, on certain deaths, just hasn't said anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or thanked them for their years of service. They worked there for a significant amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the FBI is okay, we'll look into it. That's weird.
Yeah.
Every other conspiracy theory, nobody's looking into it.
Mm-hmm. Almost as if we're onto something.
Or they're just yeah, just tell them we'll look into it.
Maybe.
We just need people to stop talking about Epstein
Can
files.
everyone please yeah, sure, we'll take this. Yeah, you're right. Got to move on from the Epstein files.
I know. Anything to distract.
Just some of those reels are so funny. The guy who's I think I sent it to you, where he wakes up from a coma. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to go get an 8-cent coffee. He's like, I got bad news for you.
Yeah.
It's it's okay. I'll just pop over to the store. Got more bad news for you.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly bad news.
I think he also did a skit of talking to his younger self.
Yes.
Or oh, I guess I'll just go back to school $300,000. Oh, I guess I'll just, that's okay.
It's okay. The government's looking after us, isn't it? Oh, I got more bad news.
The shooting, though.
Ooh, so I don't know a lot about it. I just know it happened. And he's still alive.
Sorry.
I feel like it happens so frequently that we're just meh, okay, next.
Just the video, too, was really comical.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you saw the videos of, of the crowd. 2 stood out to me. The director of the FBI. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name names. I don't want to get sued. But the director of the FBI, just sitting there, so unbothered, He almost looked annoyed. That's what was happening. I'm like, are you going to get up?
Fucking this again.
Yeah. I'm like,
He probably is annoyed.
From your fucking chair?
Yeah.
And then Dana White, like the head of the UFC.
Yeah.
Hilarious reaction.
He's always funny.
He just,
Really?
there's a
It's
video of
ridiculous.
him sitting there and he's just like grinning like this, like trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Was he there?
Yeah.
What? I thought it was
big-
his reaction or something. That's
No.
funny. That's like a lifetime. What are the odds that you're there to witness history?
I know, and he was interviewed after it, and I think he said like, well, everybody ran off and hid. I didn't though. It was pretty fucking cool.
He's gonna have like 1 million listeners on his podcast this week now.
You're confusing him with Joe Rogan,
Sure am.
but they do look alike.
They're
because
probably
every
the same
time
person.
and they're best friends.
See,
It's two bald dudes.
they might. They all look the same to me.
They do. It's because they're bald. I think, and they're both very short in stature.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I'm sure they are.
Like
they probably
I-
drink milk.
Yeah, I would tower over Joe Rogan.
Really? Is that short?
Yeah, I think he's like 5'5" or like 5'6".
Wow. Okay.
I would love to meet him one day and just
Why?
be like, "Hello."
You're not that tall.
Yeah.
Like you're taller.
But 5'9".
Do you want a stool?
Yeah, like 5'9" when you're a girl. I feel like
Yeah, you are.
You're-
I forget how tall you are.
yeah, gargantuan.
Well.
Like that's how it feels. Like if you're talking to a short guy,
Yeah.
and they're always intimidated. They don't like it.
Yeah. It's a lot of lady.
It is a bit. How's the weather up there? Also, I you know what? I love short kings. I think they're great, but I can never kneel down to kiss somebody.
No, I want to be the little one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And anytime Brian makes like a noise picking me up, I'm like, put me down.
Put me down right now. Game over.
I'm mad. Now we're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This case is insane.
Excellent.
It's so messed up.
There's no more cults though this time,
No,
are
no
there?
more cults.
Okay, good. That last one's a
I
heavy
don't
one.
think a stabbing either.
Oh, whoa. Is it poison?
Oh no, but there's so many poison cases.
That'd be
I'm
cool.
like,
And we haven't done poisoning yet.
I know so many. They're crazy.
Excellent. For next time.
Yes. So this one, I actually can't believe that it doesn't have more mainstream recognition because it has everything. It has a brilliant professor, a messy divorce, and a family that was so enmeshed and it's almost hard to look at directly.
Oh.
It also involved a dentist who drove a Ferrari
Ooh.
with the license plate Maestro.
Oh. What?
2 Miami gang members and a mother-in-law who, when her son got convicted of murder, immediately booked a one-way ticket to Vietnam.
What?
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
crazy.
Why Vietnam though?
I don't know. Maybe no extradition?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. So, Dan Markel was born in Montreal in 1972, and he was raised in Toronto in a very religious Jewish family. Represent.
Oh, and Canadian.
Yeah. Double represent. By every account, he was the kind of kid who was going to do something significant. He studied politics and philosophy at Harvard as an undergrad, graduated magna cum laude. It took me so long to know how to say that properly.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to know that. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm. He also did a fellowship in Israel, and he got a master's from Cambridge, and then he went back to Harvard for law school and then clerked there for a federal judge in the Ninth Circuit. And he worked at a very prestigious law firm in D.C.
Holy moly.
Yeah, hurts when
Quite
people are
accomplished.
smart.
Yeah.
And then he made a choice that a lot of ambitious academics make. He went into teaching.
Sucker.
Well, professing
yeah.
teaching.
Yeah, not like public school.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. He joined the faculty at Florida State University College of Law in 2005. And then he was tenured by 2010, which means you can't get fired, right?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, like on contract, yeah.
Yeah.
Type thing.
He held the D. Alemberte professorship, and he co-authored a book called Privilege or Punish, which examined the relationship between criminal justice and family ties.
Interesting. Okay.
He also wrote law review articles arguing against the death penalty, against shaming as punishment. And he co-founded a blog for law professors called Prof's Blog. And he wrote op-eds for the New York Times and Slate and the Atlantic. So
Cool.
by By all accounts, he was one of those professors that people really actually liked. Not just respected, like his students really enjoyed having him as a professor. Mm-hmm. And he was a dad to 2 boys. The boys were born in 2009 and 2010. And he was, by everything his friends and colleagues said, completely devoted to them.
How did he have time?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
So Dan spent his career studying punishment and retribution and the philosophy of why we sentence people the way that we do as a society. And he wrote about what it means to hold people accountable, and he spent his life thinking about justice. But he never actually got to see any of it applied to his own murder.
Ooh.
Not for years. And it's very interesting. I'm reading a book. This is a related tangent. I started reading a book, and what is it called? Not Quite Dead Yet. And the premise is like she was technically murdered, but then like she woke up and she has this like medical condition where they can't operate on her without like she had like a 90% chance of dying in this operation, or she would most likely form an aneurysm like within 7 days.
Holy moly.
So she had to choose, and she chose like the 7 days of being alive.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to solve her own murder.
Wow.
I know.
What the heck would that be?
I don't know. Very interesting.
Huh.
I started reading it, and the first like chapter I'm like stupid.
Yeah. No,
And then as it unfolded,
I'm trying to get into the book club book.
oh no.
No, it's okay, but I'm just like, hurry up. So it opens on a baking competition. Well, the judge finds a dead body, but it's a baking competition, very much like The Greatest Baker
Oh.
and The Great British Bake Off. Very similar,
Okay.
but it's American based. And so there's 5 contestants, and so it goes through the brief backstory of each person, and I'm like, wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't like when there's too much character building. I get annoyed.
Yeah, yeah. And it's right at the beginning. Like, some people will enjoy it because it's like, oh, baking, nice and cozy. Oh, historical house it's set in, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
That is very Jessica.
yes, move the plot forward, please.
Yeah, I give it 100 pages.
Yeah.
That's my general rule.
But also, if she doesn't make cake at this book club hosted meeting, I'm going to be pissed because it plays a very big role in this story so far.
Yeah, well, and she likes a theme,
Yeah, she does like a theme.
so I imagine she will.
Excellent. I look forward to Jess's cake.
Right?
Mhm.
You heard it here first.
Jessica, we expect cake.
So Dan met Wendy Adelson in 2004. Wendy was a law student at the time, and they met on a dating site, which for the mid-2000s was still very like cringy, I guess, to admit out loud. And it's funny, actually. Like, I know a few people that met on like Lava Life.
Lava Life. I've never even heard of Lava Life.
It was like in the mid-2000s. It was like in the mid-2000s, and like I remember they had a phone line because there was phone dating.
Whoa, yeah.
It
Oh,
progressed.
okay, yes. I remember the commercials for it. I was going to say telemercials, but that's not right.
What a time. Like, when you think back to it, like, it was, of course, normal, like, for our day and age.
No, but yeah, at the beginning. I know because I was like the beer cart girl at a golf course, and there was one couple that met online, and it was like almost obscene. Like, can you believe she's basically a mail order bride? I'm like, what? What is this world? And it was like the first iteration of online dating.
Yeah, now it's how you met.
Most people now, I bet you.
Yeah, I even remember when it was like cringy to meet on Tinder.
But I know a lot of people who got married to people they met on Tinder.
Yeah. Bumble, all of the things. I miss when my friends were single. Because I obviously I was on the apps in between, like before I met Brian. Mm-hmm. And then when I started dating Brian seriously, my friends were all still single. And I remember I would scroll on the apps for them. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, this guy's a loser. You can't date him. Or like they would message and I'm like, give me that. And I would message back.
Oh, that's funny.
I ruined all of their dates.
I know Neil was on Plenty of Fish, but I didn't meet him that way. But we were
Brian was on there
dating.
too.
That's funny. We were dating, and then like something pinged, and he's like, "I thought I deleted it. I deactivated my account." Like he thought he was in deep shit.
And you were just like trying to be a cool girl, and you're like, no, it's fine.
No, it doesn't bother me at all that you would get a notification. Asshole.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
But I married him, so I
Yeah.
won. Like it.
Yeah, it worked out.
Does it even still exist anymore, or is it something else?
I don't want to Google it.
No, we don't need that.
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was for the podcast. As if somebody told me that, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, right.
So they were met online, and their friends said that they were visibly in love early on. One of their friends described them as very lovey-dovey. Now, the Adelson family that Wendy came from was very wealthy and tight-knit. So her mom, Donna, was a bookkeeper for the family's dental practice, and her father, Harvey, was a dentist. And her brother Charlie had also gone into dentistry, and he ran a periodontist practice north of Miami. So very lucrative implant clinic, and Charlie drove a Ferrari, and it was his license plate that said Maestro.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Why Maestro?
I don't know.
You're a dentist.
Yeah.
You're not like a concert pianist.
I don't know. Florida, I think, is like pretty different, yeah.
But with your teeth?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And they make just like a shitload of money.
Oh, especially if it's like cosmetic dentistry. Yeah. You make stupid money.
Even just dentists in general. To the point that like, it's like when they tell you that you need something, I'm like, do I? Or do you just want a new car? I know,
now I'm saucy.
Yeah,
I agree. I get a little saucy. Same with optometry. Yeah. Mind you, like, I haven't met a mean optometrist.
No.
But part of me is like, really?
Yeah. I know. Well, they're like, come back in 6 months. And I'm like, you and I both know
I'm not
that my benefits.
Yeah, I'm not coming back in 6 months.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 1 to 2 years, buddy. Mm-hmm.
They told me to come back monthly because I have like the developing eye thing.
Yeah.
And
that's too much time to waste.
Yeah, I'm like, you'll see me this time next year. That's about it.
But it's dentistry. They're like, do you want us to call you every 6 months? I'm like, you really don't need to bother.
Oh my God.
I'll see you next year.
My dentist was driving me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They like won't stop texting. Like, just stop. I don't want to go back to you now.
Yeah.
But I will.
My favorite one was Neil's got a call. And they're like, oh, there was a note on your file. He's like, well, it must have slipped out from someone else's file. I'm like, honey, it's all electronic. There's not like a Post-it in someone's file.
You think that's like still paper files?
I think so.
Oh my God.
Like, honey, that's not how it works. It's like, it must be from someone else. I'm like, there's no way.
It's all online. Has been for like 20 years.
So cute. I'm like, yeah, no, sure. Post-it probably did slip out.
That's so funny.
Ugh, that man.
Oh my gosh.
So dentist.
So by 2012, the marriage between Dan and Wendy had fallen apart. Wendy filed for divorce, and according to friends, Dan described the day that she left as his Pearl Harbor. She had packed up the house entirely, and she packed up the kids and then left while he was away.
Oh, But if I was really mad at Neil, that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Only I would pack his stuff.
And kick him out.
Change all the locks, and then maybe like go on vacation for a week or something.
This is my house.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be there to deal with the drama, but he would not be in that house.
No, I'm with you.
But I love him, and it's not happening.
But just in case.
Mm-hmm.
The divorce was finalized in 2013, and it was not like a clean and easy one. It involved dozens of court filings, a drawn-out custody battle, and they ended up with 50-50 custody of their sons. Wendy Adelson wanted more than that. Specifically, she wanted to move the boys from Tallahassee to South Florida, where her family lived. So Miami is 6 hours from Tallahassee.
So she wanted the family support.
And she just basically wanted to relocate.
Fair.
Now, family court judge said no. The judge found that Wendy had not met her burden of proof to indicate that the move would be in the children's best interest.
Yeah.
So, interesting. So Dan won that round. And also, he in 2014 filed a motion that would have restricted the mother-in-law from being alone and unsupervised with his sons.
Wow. Okay.
He claimed that she had been making disparaging remarks about him to the children.
They do that. Like it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think they can do that in a divorce, but it only hurts the relationship and it puts the kids in a bad position.
Yeah, I remember my parents doing that a lot.
Yeah, it's awful.
I just like,
because what are you supposed to do? It's just bad for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't help their case. They just look like bad people when their kids are old enough to understand what happened.
I agree. You got to take it on the chin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine how much it sucks, but you got to do it.
The kids are not adults in this divorce. You let them be kids.
I agree. So now the Adelsons did not take any of that well. One attorney who later wrote a book about this case described the situation very bluntly. He just said it was toxic. On July 18th, 2014, it was a Friday morning and Dan had gone to the gym. He ran some errands and then he arrived home at his house in Tallahassee just before 11 a.m. A neighbor heard gunshots. He looked outside and saw a light-colored Toyota Prius driving away, and he called 911. Dan had been shot twice in the head in his garage.
Whoa.
He was taken to the hospital, but he died the following morning on July 19th at 41 years old.
I can't believe he lived that long. Like after getting shot twice in the head.
Oh, I'm like 41?
No, after getting shot twice in the head.
Oh, okay.
And he was still alive.
Yeah, no, that is.
Wow.
And that's sad because, like, what are the chances, right?
Yeah, it's very sad.
So the Tallahassee Police Department confirmed that he was the intended victim and this wasn't a random crime and that somebody came to his house specifically to kill him.
Yeah, 2 shots to the head is very intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's one other detail that has stuck with me since I first heard about this case. Emergency medical response was actually delayed because a 911 dispatcher misclassified the call as less serious than it was.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, and it's hard to like dwell on it because you don't know if it would have changed the actual outcome, but
I don't know. Yeah. Again, 2 shots to the head. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So Dan Markel, a devoted dad and academic and one of the most respected criminal law scholars of his generation, was dead on a Friday morning. Now his body was brought back to Canada and he is actually buried at Pardes Shalom Cemetery just north of Toronto.
Interesting.
So for almost 2 years, the public did not know much. There were no arrests, and police released the photos of the silver Toyota Prius and asked for tips. A $25,000 Crime Stoppers reward was also offered, and then separately, a $100,000 reward was offered.
Wow.
But still nothing came in. So behind the scenes, investigators were building a picture. There was phone records, cell data, GPS, SunPass toll records, which is Florida's electronic toll collection system.
Oh, okay.
And then security camera footage from buildings and then city buses along the routes that the suspect had traveled. What they ended up piecing together was that 2 men had driven up from Miami in a rented Toyota Prius. They stayed in motels the nights of July 16th and 17th, and then on the morning of the 18th, they tailed Dan as he ran his errands and went to the gym, yada, yada, yada. And then they ended up shooting him. So in May 2016, which is now 2 years after the murder, the first arrest was made. It was a man named Sigfredo Garcia, who was 34 and from Miami Beach. And then a few days later, a probable cause affidavit was unsealed, and it named a second man, Luis Riviera.
Okay, so they were hired.
And Luis was 33.
That's pretty young.
Yeah. Both Garcia and Riviera had ties to the Latin Kings gang in Miami. And then the affidavit said something that opened the whole thing up. This was not a random contract killing. Investigators believed that they knew who had hired them. The theory was that Charlie Adelson, Wendy's older brother, and Donna Adelson, Wendy's mother, had used a woman named Catherine McBona as the go-between to hire Garcia and Riviera. And the alleged motive was getting Dan out of the picture so that Wendy could relocate to Miami with the boys.
Is that it? It was just a shitty divorce? Like he wasn't abusive or anything?
Mm-mm.
Just a bad divorce.
Yeah, just a bad divorce. Like she even speaks like pretty positively about him after death. Like there was obviously they didn't get along when they were divorcing, but like she didn't have anything bad to say about him actually.
As a parent. Huh, interesting.
Yeah. I'm just going to walk through how all the connections works because this is kind of where it gets intricate.
Okay.
So Catherine McBona was a woman who had 2 kids of her own with Sigfredo Garcia. She was also, at the time of the murder, dating Charlie Adelson.
Ugh.
So she was also on the payroll of the Adelson family practice.
Oh, okay.
So prosecutors would later argue that she wasn't doing any actual work for the Adelsons.
Oh,
like, okay. So, like, what was her role? Was she a dental assistant, hygienist? What
Even
was
receptionist,
she doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So she was also receiving other financial benefits from the Adelsons, including help paying for breast augmentation surgery.
Ew.
It happens a lot in murders that I read about.
Yeah.
The widow
The
or
dad pervy?
something happens,
Yeah.
and there's always new boobs involved. I'm like, is that like a trigger? What?
Yeah. Is that like a gateway drug? Your boobs?
I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Garcia, the alleged shooter, Riviera was the driver, and Catherine McBuana was the alleged middleman who connected everybody. And then Charlie was the one who orchestrated it, and Donna was the co-conspirator. Mm-hmm. They just said, "We're not fucking telling Dad."
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. No.
Because he must be the sensible one.
Mm-hmm.
On the drive back from Tallahassee to Miami after the murder, according to Riviera's later confession, Garcia called McBuana, and his message said, "Everything is done. Make sure that you have my money. I'm on my way."
Wow.
So that call was the first one that Garcia made after Dan was shot. Then in October of 2016, Riviera ended up taking a plea deal, and he pled guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for a reduced sentence. So he got 19 years running concurrently with another sentence that he was serving. But
wow.
In his motivation, he said that the motive was custody. The words that he remembered were, "The lady wants her 2 kids back. She wants full custody."
Like, splitting them is shitty.
Yeah.
But you're getting divorced. It sounds like a reasonable human.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to have to share them.
I feel like in that situation, where somebody wants full sole custody of their kids, if what they got actually happened and the other party said, "Yeah, okay, you can have full custody," they'd be like, "See?" There's just no winning in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
They'd be like, "See, he was a shitty dad," or "She was a shitty mom. She didn't want the kids." And then, but on the flip side, then they will pull out anything that you do in your personal life.
Yeah.
To try and get sole custody. So I'm like, just share your fucking kids, man.
I know. It sounds like it's solely because you want to move.
Yeah. I have very distinct memories from my parents getting divorced. Mm-hmm. And I actually remember I must have been P's age. Because it was around then before the divorce was finalized. And I remember my dad said, "You're going to have to tell the court or tell whoever," I can't remember who it was, as an official, "who you're going to want to live with, mom or dad." And I was like, "Both of you." I remember being flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Well, you have to choose." And then I remember being upset about it for days.
Of
and
course.
I still, at my old age, remember that.
Yeah.
Deal with your shit personally.
Yeah, don't drag your kids into it. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I used to think a lot of the times, as a child of divorce, I used to think the divorce really impacted me. And as I got older, I realized, no, it was actually just how they handled it.
Yeah.
That was the actual problem.
Yeah, it's always going to be shitty.
Yeah.
A good marriage, there's no divorce in a good marriage. I think I listened to a comedian say that.
Yeah.
Because he was like, "Oh, I just got divorced," and everyone's like, "Aw." He's like, "No, aw." If it was a good marriage, we wouldn't be divorced.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you just need to separate. I love seeing people that co-parent really well.
Yeah.
Whatever, you don't have to be friends, but some of them are friends, and they just get past their shit, and they co-parent well, and they communicate well, and the kids thrive. It's no less worse. What am I trying to say? It's as though they have a nuclear family because the parents are communicating so well.
Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah.
I think in COVID, a lot of healthy divorced families did that.
Yeah.
They moved back in together so they could be in each other's bubble.
Yeah.
It'd be tricky, of course. I'm not saying it wasn't difficult because you divorced for a reason. Mm-hmm. But if it's for the betterment of your kids during COVID when we all had to be in those pods, a few of them. I'm thinking of Amy Poehler specifically.
Yeah.
Because her and her husband, what is his name? He's a Canadian. Does a lot of voice work. He hosted the Lego competition. He's Lego Batman.
Will Arnett? Yeah.
Yeah, Will Arnett.
I had no idea. Wow, they would be hilarious.
I know, because they were brother and sister on that stupid, it was a skating movie, Blades of Glory.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
which was very funny. So yeah, they said during COVID, he moved back in with them.
Yeah.
So that the kids could be with them.
God, what was their reason for divorce? Who's funnier?
I think he was an alcoholic, actually. I think he had a drinking problem.
That's sad.
Yeah, I know.
I love Amy Poehler.
I know. Did you read her book?
Yeah. I read Tina Fey's when it came out too.
And then Steve Martin's was Martin Short's is really good too. Steve Martin's he just talks about like the stuff he's written and then his positive experiences, where Martin Short's was like a little more real. So he talks about the death of his wife, and then I think it's his brother and like little things that happened.
That's what I want to read.
Yeah, like Martin Short's is very, very good.
I don't
Aziz
wanna
Ansari's was more like a social experiment one, like a sociology book.
Yes. I think I read his too, actually. But
Really?
This was like years ago, like in 2016.
Yeah, like
When
we
they were
were
all
living in the
coming out.
cabin still. So.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell you about it, but I remember I read it.
Oh, Aziz Ansari's was interesting because he was talking about how, like, you used to, it's like everyone is FOMO now.
Yeah.
So that's his theory on why people are getting married later, because you'll date, but you're like, well, is someone better for me? Like, we don't always put in the effort. Whereas, like, 30 years ago, you married someone that grew up on the block because they were close to you. It's not like you were going to travel.
It's true. You have so many options now.
Yeah, whereas before it's like, this is who lives close. These are my options.
Yeah.
Now there's FOMO.
Interesting. Well, he's right about that.
I kind of think so too.
Yeah.
But I didn't like hearing it.
No. I don't like hearing the truth either.
No.
Okay. So he described Garcia as the one who actually pulled the trigger, and then he named Catherine the woman in the middle doing everything. And then also in October 2016, Meg Buona was also arrested and charged.
Oh, okay.
Now, the trials were crazy. Garcia was tried in October of 2019. He was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy, whatever. Sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Now, Meg Buona, her first trial was also in October 2019, but that ended in a mistrial.
Oh.
The jury was hung at a 10-2 for conviction, so she stayed in jail pending retrial. Oh. Then, of course, any retrials did not happen until May 2022 because COVID delays pushed everything back for years. Mm-hmm. Then this time, the jury ended up convicting her on all counts, so first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation, and then she got life plus a consecutive 30-year sentence.
Oof.
She's not getting out.
No. Like,
Now,
I guess she didn't pull the trigger, but she organized it all.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Florida is harsh.
Apparently, I don't fuck around.
Yeah, I think they actually still have the death penalty.
Yikes.
Yeah. Between the two Meg Buona trials, investigators were building towards the bigger fish. Charlie Adelson was arrested in April 2022, and he was charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy. His trial began in October of 2023. Charlie testified in his own defense.
Interesting.
I'm like, you're so rich, you can have the best defense. Mm-hmm. But his story that he wasn't behind the murder. He claimed that after Dan's death, Meg Buona came to him and told him that he would be killed if he didn't pay $333,000 in 48 hours. He said that he was the victim of an extortion scheme and that he had paid her what he could, including $138,000 in cash and then $3,000 a month more through checks through the dental practice. That was his defense. Like, oh, she tricked me into murdering him.
Do you think that's true?
No.
I don't think so either.
It's the most insane defense.
Yeah, a tiny part of me is like, maybe?
I feel like a better defense would be like...
temporary insanity.
We were dating and... like, I have no idea what she did. Like, I remember complaining about Dan, but I have no involvement.
Interesting.
But there's so much evidence.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
so he's full of shit.
For sure.
Okay.
Meg Buona, who by now had flipped, took the stand and said the complete opposite. She said that she had lied in her own trials to protect herself, but now she was telling the truth because, too late for her.
Yeah, she's already toast.
She said that Charlie was the one who came up with the murder plot, and she also acknowledged that she had recruited Garcia to carry out the killing. The jury deliberated for 3 hours after 8 days of testimony, which that's very short.
Yeah, that's pretty fast, I feel like.
Yeah. So Charlie Adelson was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder with solicitation to commit first-degree murder. Mm-hmm. He was sentenced to life plus 30 years, and then the Ferrari and the Maestro plate were not of much use to him anymore. Now Donna.
Oh, Donna.
Donna Adelson. She is, what an interesting character. She is very much like typical Jewish mom.
Okay.
So obviously loved to meddle.
Yes. Clearly
Holy
couldn't help
shit.
herself.
Yeah, just thought that she was going to get her way. So she was the matriarch and the bookkeeper and the grandma. Now, days after Charlie's conviction on November 6, 2023, like literally days, Donna and her husband Harvey showed up at Miami International Airport with one-way ticket to Vietnam. Yeah.
Interesting.
Then they booked those tickets on November 7th, which was one day after the verdict. Now, Vietnam has no extradition treaty with the U.S.
Okay.
I always forget what I write in these things. She was also recorded on a jailhouse phone call because, and there's so many jailhouse phone calls, and like they tell you that they're recording you. It's not like a secret. Mm-hmm. But some of these cases that I listen to, they like will play the jailhouse calls, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like talking about the murder while the trial's ongoing. I'm like, you guys,
like, come on.
Idiot.
They tell you.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
She was saying that they were looking for places where there's no extradition. So then she ended up being arrested at the airport on November 13th.
If you knew it was coming, why didn't you leave earlier? Like a tiny part of me.
Yeah.
You know it's probably coming.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And like what? It wouldn't impact you at all to be in Vietnam.
Yeah.
You're just there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so Donna was charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder and solicitation of murder, and she pled not guilty. Her trial was delayed multiple times because, first, her original attorney withdrew on the first day of jury selection in 2024.
That's funny.
Which is wild. He's just like,
Nope, fuck this.
Yeah. Her trial finally began in August of 2025. And prosecutors painted a very specific picture. They said Donna hated Dan. She hated that he had limited her access to her grandkids. And she hated that a court had ruled that Wendy couldn't move the boys to Miami. She was furious about the motion that Dan had filed in 2014 to restrict her unsupervised time with the kids. Like that just, I think that like really set her off.
Mm-hmm.
And she had, according to prosecutors, complained about Dan constantly to her son Charlie, making Dan's existence a problem for the whole family. Yeah. So one of the more striking pieces of evidence was an undercover FBI agent approached Donna and pretended to be affiliated with the murder plot. She then called Charlie and then told him that the agent's comments involved both of us. So, like, you can find recordings of this. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because, so you can find recordings of the actual, like, her coming up, or, like, the FBI agent coming up to Donna, being like, you know, I'm here, like, I need more money, otherwise they're going to come get me, and then how can I, like, it was very convincing, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Nice.
Then she calls Charlie, and she's like, yeah, they said stuff regarding both of us. Like, they said stuff that affects both of us.
Ooh, shit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, her defense was that she was an over-involved grandma. She was a meddler, but not a murderer, and there's no physical evidence directly connecting her to the crime. The jury convicted her on all counts on September 4th, 2025.
She won not at all.
No.
Interesting.
At sentencing, Dan's father, Phil, delivered a victim impact statement. He ended it with one question directed at Donna directly. Was it worth it?
Wow.
Yeah. So on October 13th, 2025, Donna Adelson was sentenced to life in prison. She was 75.
Ooh, shit. It's literally life in prison.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about Wendy because obviously she's in the middle of this and she's never actually been charged with anything. This is Dan's ex-wife.
Yeah.
She has consistently denied involvement in Dan's murder. In court testimony, she said that she didn't know what her family had done. And under immunity, which means that her testimony couldn't be used against her, she testified at multiple trials. Prosecutors named both her and her father, Harvey, as unindicted co-conspirators, but neither has ever been charged. But here's what we know. On the day that Dan was murdered, Wendy had texted him to confirm that he would be home. Not out of town, but home. She would go on to argue that this was just like divorced parent coordination, and like her lawyers basically said yes, like that is what it was.
Maybe if there's going to be a kid exchange.
Yeah, who knows? After the shooting, she did drive by Dan's house. Her ex-boyfriend later told reporters that he thought that she might have been trying to set her boyfriend at the time up as a frame job. But she told police that she was a devoted ex-spouse just checking in.
No, that one's weird.
Yeah, I know. After Dan's death, she described him to investigators as litigious.
Litigious. There you go.
She said that her parents had more reasons to dislike Danny than almost everybody else. And she also mentioned that almost in passing that one of her older brothers had once joked about hiring a hitman.
Well, that's not something you bring up.
And that brother was Charlie. She also said that she thought that he was killed not out of hate, but because somebody thought that it was good somehow, which is very specific framing for somebody who was in shock. Here's the other part.
Or she didn't need to say anything.
Yeah, just
don't say anything.
Yeah, honestly.
Aye.
Now, after the 2016 arrests, Wendy cut off contact between Dan's parents. So Ruth and Phil Markel, who lived in Toronto, she cut them off from the grandsons.
Oh.
She changed the boys' last names from Markel to Adelson.
Ooh, okay. That's not good.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah.
No, it sucks.
So 2 little boys lost their dad in murder. And then the family responsible for that murder also got to control how much access those boys had to their other grandparents.
That's so sad.
Florida's grandparent visitation laws at the time were among the most restrictive in the county. There was nothing that Ruth and Phil could do. Wendy's lawyers called a proposed fix an absolute outrage.
That's awful.
Yeah. In 2022, the Florida legislature passed HB 1119, informally called the Markel Act, which created new pathways for grandparents to petition for visitation in cases involving traumatic deaths like murder.
Good.
And then Governor DeSantis did sign that into law.
Excellent.
Ruth Markel has described what contact they've managed to have since then as highly choreographed. So they've had brief Zoom calls for birthdays that were cut off after 15 or 20 minutes. But the boys are now teenagers, so 15 and 16.
So they can choose?
Yeah. Well, she said that they have started to ask about Dan.
No, of course they would.
And I mean, she says that she wants them to come to Canada and to visit his grave.
It's hard.
Man, I get that you're not involved, but you could act a little bit like you're not involved. Bring them to their grave. That is their fucking dad.
Yeah.
I
don't know if they need to go to the grave.
Or still just...
But some sort of understanding and closure. Some engagement with your... Yeah.
Again, they're gonna learn about this all because it's all public.
Well, and if you chokehold it like that, you're just gonna make them want to go more. So it'll just be when they're old enough to go by themselves, they will super duper go. Yeah,
and then they're gonna find out the actual truth. And I mean, in a case like this, you can find out everything that happened. There's so many Dateline episodes with videos and everything recorded. You can't deny
this will not go well for the kids.
Exactly. You did not have a lot of forward thinking ability.
No, and you weren't thinking about what was best for the kids. It was what's best for you.
Yeah. So I keep thinking about this one thing. Dan Markel devoted his career to the philosophy of punishment. He wrote about retribution and what it means to actually hold somebody accountable for harm. He argued against the death penalty, and he shamed it as punishment, or he said he was against shaming as punishment.
Yeah.
He tried to think clearly and carefully about what justice actually looks like. And then he was murdered, and it took over a decade for the people responsible to actually face anything. The last conviction, Donna Adelson, came in 2025, which was 11 years and 2 months after Dan was shot.
Oof.
His boys were toddlers when he died, and like I said, they're in high school now. And I also think about the fact that Dan, in the last months of his life, was fighting to keep his mother-in-law away from his kids because he said that she was talking badly about him to them. And the court had not ruled on that yet when he was killed. So, there actually wasn't a decision made, but he did make the motion. And of course, he was right to be concerned because he ended up being right about all of it.
Yeah.
So, where are things now? So, just a recap. So, Luis Rivera, he pled guilty to second-degree murder, 19 years. Sigfredo Garcia, first-degree murder, sentenced to life without parole. Catherine Magubana, the middleman, was convicted at her retrial, and she got life plus 2 30-year terms. Charlie got first-degree murder charges and life plus 30 years for each of the charges. Donna, again, sentenced to life in prison at 75.
Yikes.
Wendy, again, she was named as co-conspirator, but testified against everybody under immunity, never been charged. So Harvey Adelson, who was also named an unindicted co-conspirator, was stopped at the airport with Donna when she tried to flee, but he has not been charged. I just think he had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. And yeah. But so now Dan's mother, Ruth, described sitting through 4 separate trials and revisiting her son's murder over and over and over from different angles with different defendants, always across 11 years. And she said that for homicide survivors, the grief is not normal. It doesn't have a natural arc. You're pulled back into it again and again every time there's a hearing, an arrest, or a verdict. Every time somebody new gets convicted, you have to relive it. And yet, she keeps showing up. She delivered a victim impact statement at Donna Adelson's sentencing, and she wore sunglasses because she had fallen in the hotel parking lot 3 days into the trial, and then she gave herself 2 black eyes.
What?
Yeah.
What a detail to throw in there, though.
I know. I'm like,
just be like, I'm sad.
Because when I watched the videos, I'm like, why did you?
Interesting.
So I had to put that in there.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But she actually kept going anyways, even though she had this massive injury. She kept going. And Ruth has said that she wants her grandsons to come to Canada, and she wants them to know who their father was, not just the version of him that they have been given, but the actual real person. The man who graduated Harvard magna cum laude and who studied at Cambridge and cared deeply about justice and spent his career to understand it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. She's a very nice lady.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he sounds like he was an amazing human.
Yeah, I know. So
he's Canadian to go to those really prestigious colleges in the States, universities in the States.
I was friends with a girl in high school, and her brother... I kind of felt bad for her. It was like her older brother. He was like, I think I've talked to him before. He was like a crazy genius. Mm-hmm. Like he got so many scholarships because he was just so fucking smart.
Yeah.
And he ended up taking the SATs. I remember because we had to have Americans, remember taking your diploma exams in grade 12 when you were all in a gym? Mm-hmm. He had to be in a specific different section because he was taking the SATs.
Okay.
And he ended up getting either a perfect score or something fucking crazy or unheard of. Okay. On the SATs. He got a full ride to Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
bananas.
Free. Bananas.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's so cool though.
I know.
So cool.
I know. She has a nice life too though. They're also in Florida actually.
That's funny.
There's a lot of Jews in Florida though, I will say.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A fun fact.
Is just the weather nice? Why would the Jews congregate in Florida?
I don't know. There's a lot of Russians there too. It's an interesting place. It's a melting pot.
Why did you end up here? Weather's nicer down there.
I ask myself that all the time. My parents could choose anywhere. Mm-hmm. My dad talks about it all the time, and he will say the other places that we could have been. I'm like, why did you choose here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God. I think one time he told me it was he said other countries, and I can't remember them. But I think one was New York. Mm-hmm. And really? You looked at Calgary, Alberta?
And you're this is where I want to be, where it's 9 months of winter.
Stupid.
I know. My dad, as part of retiring through the military, you have a year after you retire to pick if you want to be moved anywhere on the dime of the Canadian military.
You have a year?
A year to decide if you want to move anywhere else.
Okay.
So because you're posted so many different locations, they're like, okay, our last gift to you, thank you. Where do you want to retire?
Is it anywhere in the world?
Well, I don't know now. You're fact checking me.
Because I'm trying to think.
But they picked where I grew up, and I'm like, there was nowhere else better.
Where would you have, if it was in Canada, what would you have chosen?
I don't know now.
Yeah.
Because I've met my husband and had kids. And
if you just don't think about that, if all of that would have happened.
If I was always going to meet Neil wherever I was going.
Yeah.
In Canada, you say?
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking armed forces, they're they're not going to be yeah, go anywhere. And then they're I want to go to Russia. No, actually, we can't do that. Like, so I
Can't send
imagine.
anybody to Russia.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I had family in BC at the time, but I had family in Manitoba. But BC, I feel like, was nicer, but their pollution's awful.
Ew, Manitoba? Sorry if
So
anybody's listening from
my
Manitoba.
dad's side is from. I don't think anyone from Manitoba listens to us, but
Not anymore.
but like Ontario, the Great Lakes are there.
Yeah.
Like the weather's also warmer, but again, pollution.
Ontario.
I know. So like, it's not so bad
Sorry.
that we ended up
Such an Alberta.
that we ended up where we ended up.
Yeah.
Because who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, nowhere else. But they were quite settled by then, so.
Yeah, I feel like there's really not anywhere else you could live. I like the idea of like living in Montreal because it's like as close to Europe as you can get.
Yeah, sometimes I like
Canada.
the idea of the East Coast because the housing
Yeah.
is so cheap, but their weather is insane that close to the ocean.
Like PEI, Potato Land.
Yeah, I like the idea of like seclusion and
Yeah.
quiet respite, but their
Yeah.
weather is nuts. And I don't know that I could live. I think I'm too neurotic to live so close to the ocean. I like the idea, but I think I'm a lake person.
Yeah, I don't think, like, when I get tired of Alberta, I'm like, well, there's nowhere else,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Like, where else are we going to go that's, I mean, we can argue about that as Canadians all day, like, which is better, but, like, there's not a lot to compare it to.
Yeah, we're treated pretty well here.
Kelowna's beautiful, and, like, you have wine and beautiful summers.
But so expensive to live there, and the
Fires.
the crime is bananas.
Exactly. So, like, you're never going to have, like, a perfect place.
Yeah, like my grandparents Edmonton. My grandparents, they had like over time their farm got smaller and smaller as it subdivided, and so, and I'm saying their crime is so bad. So my grandpa was taking my grandma to chemo treatments. And wow, so someone was watching the house because one time when he was out taking my grandma to chemo, their house was robbed.
Oh, my God.
Like just horrible. And they caught them pretty quick. I think the neighbors had seen it happen or something because they knew they had a very good relationship with the neighbors.
Yeah.
And so they called it in and there was a police chase. And so my grandpa was retired Army, and then they had a convenience store, and then he was a farmer for a number of years, and so they retired. So he had lots of interesting jewelry from like his time in the Army, from all the different places he'd been. So there was like some jewelry from Egypt and some really neat stuff and some cool coins that were collectors and quite valuable.
Yeah.
And so they had taken drawers out of their dressers, filled all their valuables, and then that's what they were throwing out the car window at the police as there was a chase. So my youngest uncle, after everything was said and done, he went along the path of the car chase and tried to retrieve anything that was tossed out.
Oh, my God.
Because the cops didn't pick everything up off the ground, and it was a gravel path, like around Cultus Lake, the kind of lake district there. So it's just very interesting. So the crime is awful.
Holy shit.
Like, I'm not exaggerating. It's terrible there.
That is really bad.
The pollution is awful because it's just a valley. So you can hike up some of the mountains around there and you can look out. I took Neil for a little hike the first time I brought him back to meet all my extended family.
Yeah.
And you can see the pollution settle in the valley. So it's just coating like Chilliwack,
Ew.
Abbotsford. It's awful. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
horrible.
I mean, Vancouver Island is nice.
It's nice, but so expensive.
Yeah,
and the joke is always that it's sinking into the ocean.
Probably.
Yeah, but when my parents like made that joke as a kid, I'm like, Jesus, we need to move Grandma. Like, I never want to be there.
It's like when our kids are old, probably.
Maybe
assume.
even then, who
Yeah.
knows? Like, it's rising ocean levels and blah blah blah. But
And it's always the most expensive places, too.
oh my God, it is beautiful though,
Yeah.
but it's also ridiculous.
I know. I feel like that's, if money wasn't an option or like wasn't an issue, I would probably live there. Like a really pretty house.
If money wasn't an option, maybe Kelowna or like one of the smaller lakes there, because I always want the mountains, but Neil always wants to be on a lake, so we'd have to find something.
Alberta's a nice mix.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to want to leave. Like Cultus, I love Cultus because I grew up there, and they have some nice shallow areas, but it's so heavily populated now.
Ugh.
It's awful to get in there. They never change the parking, so it's chaos. A lot of movies are filmed in BC though because it's so beautiful.
Interesting. It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
I like forests. Like, I want to be in like Kananaskis.
Yeah,
It feels
I agree. If you could build in there magically somehow.
Yeah, or like Bray Creek, like that
Yeah,
area.
Bray Creek is nice. You can't. That's a reservation. You can't own in there though. But you have like a 99-year lease. Like it's not...
Yeah, people build like $1 million properties on there.
Yeah, they're beautiful houses.
I really like that area. Like I like tall trees and like.
Yes.
I want to be surrounded.
Which is interesting. I didn't expect that of you because you're a Calgary all the way. You're a city person.
But and it's funny because like even growing up, we would go into like Fish Creek Park, which is like the natural park that it can like it goes from like all of South Calgary. Like it's.
I know
huge.
Neil's grandma's house backed onto Fish Creek Park.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the really rich people in Woodbine had that.
Oh yeah, super, super, super. Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember I would hang out there all the time. I love it. Mm-hmm. I like the deafening silence of it.
Yeah, much like our new studio space.
Panic room.
Hopefully
the sound is good. I'll leave this in here in case it's bad.
We'll figure it out if not.
Yeah,
this is our first year. We're doing an excellent job, I think.
I think so too. And it'll be a lot cooler when we're on video. Hopefully
next week.
Next episode.
We can do it. We're just going to do it regardless. We'll just do it.
We'll just do it.
Yes.
She says.
That's how we got here. I was like, we're just going to start soon.
It's true, actually.
Yep.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I think it speaks to your friendship that you're like, fine.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
I guess we'll do this thing that you've dreamed of forever. You're welcome.
Okay. Sorry for ruining your day and sorry if the sound sucks.
But we're not sorry because we're learning and we're trying very hard.
We're doing great.
Yeah.
Okay,
bye.